Hello guys and welcome back to Stonehearth. This is a look at Alpha 13 test version. Now this is a very unstable one apparently. They've actually disabled previous saves of games, so I can't really bring my save forward into this version. Just the fact it's because I'm assuming because one, it's unstable, and two, it's a different version. There might be some kind of issues. But yeah, so this is a little look. So the patch notes are actually here, which I didn't notice beforehand. But this gives you a general rundown of all the different changes that have actually happened. So there's quite a few bug fixes and other changes as well. But if you want to actually read them, go ahead and pause the video now. I'm going to go over a few of them and actually show you in the game just to see what it's like. But yeah, so there's been, I think the one thing that they wanted to implement is the new biome, which is a desert biome. But at the moment it's not in this version. But it will be in the next Alpha 13 update that they do. Obviously, as this version gets more stable, then eventually they will release it as the main version to be able to play on. But with that, let's just jump in and let's have a look. So one of the changes that they made, and I think it's quite simple. I've not noticed this in version 12, but this is quite handy. Is they've actually added the option to buy food. So if you want to actually not have to worry about food for the considerable future when you get into the game for a little while, you can actually buy these, and it actually saves you having to worry about, oh, I need to get food very quickly, which is really good. But that's the change over here. Again, you can still go through the normal process. One thing I've noticed though is you can't hit escape or go back, so I don't know if they've missed a button here, because I'm sure it was there before. So you can't actually go back to the main menu. You've got to actually go into the game, load it all up, and then exit if you decide to change your mind. But yeah, so we'll go in. Yep. As you can see, I'm just going to skip through all this because there's no real reason to show anything, because nothing's changed that side of it, especially when you can't get to the new biome yet. Right, so here we are. So one of the cool changes, and if you obviously have looked at the little change log there that I was a bit earlier, is this little window, and this is the Halfling Therapist, as they've called it. Hopefully I pronounced that right. It basically means that the Citizens UI has been overhauled. So when you come into the Citizens tab and look here, you can actually now, and this is one of the bugbears that I had with the game, is you couldn't micromanage a bit more, and this actually allows you to set different people to be able to do different stuff, which is really great. So if I didn't want Emma to work on anything else apart from her role, then I could do that. So let's just say Emma's, just for the sake of it, she's a carpenter. I know I had a load of jobs that I wanted to do, but she was too busy mining, building, and picking up, going foraging for stuff. I can actually say, nope, your primary task at the moment is to only do your job. And she'll just ignore everything else, and she'll focus solely on actually building, actually making all the stuff that you've set in the, say, the carpenter, for instance. And the same for anyone, so if I wanted only certain people to build, you can do that. So we just go here, cool. And then if you want to rush something, so you just want to say, okay, I want everyone to ignore everything else, you can actually suspend the entire lot and go, instead of having to click through each one, obviously, you can just suspend each one and go, don't worry about them, just focus on whichever one you've selected. So in this case, everybody would focus on the jobs that they have. I'm not sure how it would work for just a worker though, but hey, a worker's as a worker, I guess. Yeah, that's a nice, cool little change. And the other instance, you can actually now select each particular person. You can see the mind, body, and spirit, which is great. Obviously, it gives the name and the role that they do, what the current status is, and also you can go into the more info tab, which opens up the little tab here, which is character info. And obviously, you can click all these; they're still normal, and then you can actually change the jobs from here, which is absolutely brilliant. I mean, I love this. So it saves you having to go down and try and track down where one of them is. So let's just say, for instance, Emma or Emmy was all the way over yonder. Let's say over here, and I was trying to find where she was. So I'm looking, going, "Oh, are you her? No, you her? Are you her? No." And it makes it a bit easier, which is really cool. Also, let's have a look in the job window. Oh, actually, I'm going completely the wrong place. The potter has been added, which is great. Unfortunately, this does require that you have to be, as you can see down here, a level 4 mason and a potter cutter required, which then you have to get from a carpenter. So it would be a bit long. I'd love to show you this, but the problem is it requires a lot of lengthy process. So I'd have to actually level up a carpenter, and then I'd have to level up a mason, and then be able to get the potting stuff. But what it allows you to be able to do is it adds the new building resource, which is really cool. So if I actually go and show you from here, we'll just put down a cottage, for instance. So not really going to do it, but if you go into here and you actually select on one of these, you've actually got access to, I think it's walls and floor. You can actually now select clay. And clay brick you get from, in this case, in this particular world, you can get it from digging up dirt, and every so often you'll get clay, which is probably actually about right, because that's usually where you get clay from. In the desert, it would be mixing sand and some other bits and pieces. That's how you get clay. I'm assuming so, from the desert, which is really cool. So you'll be able to actually make materials out of clay. You can say column materials, wall materials, and you can select different, obviously, different looks. So it's like, oh, I want this one to be made out of clay, and yeah, it's really cool. It's really neat. Well, like I said, it adds a bit of variety because eventually, you might get bored of having too many wood buildings and too many stone. It's like, oh, what about some clay buildings? Why not? But I know for a fact if I were in the desert, I'd use clay because that's, I think, what a lot of buildings in the desert consist of. Is actually they don't have access to wood. They don't have access to, because it's a desert. They don't have access to stone because it's actually so deep down. So they actually use clay, which is cool. And then a few other changes. Let's have a look here. So they've actually nerfed the drop rate. I'm going to say nerfed, it sounds horrible. Of getting stone from dirt, which I guess is understandable. That's just the way it is. I guess the whole idea, once you dig through this dirt layer anyway, you'll get to stone. And I think the whole idea is you're supposed to dig into this stuff up here, in this area. And then also they've like I said, once you mine dirt, you can actually get drops of clay, which is a bit interesting and would be very useful. And then there's been a few other bug changes. Fixed a pathfinding bug that resulted in workers being idle. I think I've had that a couple of times before, where you've asked them to do a task and the task don't get done for ages, and all your workers just stand there looking like they've just out of the world and dazed, which is a bit annoying because obviously you're wasting time then. There's another one being prevent enemy camps from spawning over anyone's town, including other NPC camps apparently. So I guess if you have one camp, you can't have another one spawning on top of it. And there's a few other bugs being fixed in there and other changes as well, but some other ones I haven't really noticed yet. There's actually one that's fixed facing when picking up items from stockpile. I don't know what that is. I guess it may be your halflings facing the wrong way when you pick up stuff, so it might be like facing backwards when they pick it up. I don't know. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I know it's not too long. That's the general idea of these, and I'll see how many more I can get each time an update comes along. But I wish I could show you a bit more, but like I said, some of the stuff that's planned for this update aren't out yet. But yeah, so if you've liked, please leave a nice little thumbs up, and if you've got any hints, tips or anything that I can improve on, then leave them in the comments below. And yeah, until next time guys, thanks for watching, bye. How will you not die?